Yep. Testing. It's on. Yeah, I'll read the names. I'll just have them raise their hands and hand the mic to them. Do you want to start the presentation? Give me a couple minutes.
Sorry? Oh, very cool. Whatever. Tell me one nice hat.
Yeah. Roosh.
All right, welcome everyone. And we're going to do a little presentation first, and then we'll have an opportunity for everyone to speak who wants to speak and who registered to speak. But Madison Metro is here, and they're going to give an overview of what this is all about. And I'd like to introduce Mick Roosh and Sean Hedgepeth with Madison Metro, and I'll leave it to them for the moment.
Hello, everybody. Can everyone hear me? Hey, so yeah, I'm Sean Hedgepeth. I'm the manager of planning and scheduling at Madison Metro, and I'm here with Mick Roosh, who is the manager of marketing and customer service. So we're going to go through this short presentation here, and I guess there'll be time for questions after. So just a little primer on Metro. Pre-COVID, we were carrying about $13 million a year on our fixed route transit service. We also have the complimentary paratransit service for people who are eligible and people with disabilities. We already have partnerships with several other neighboring municipalities, including Sun Prairie, Fitchburg, Verona, Middleton, MMSD, the University of Wisconsin, and Madison College and UW Health. So we have a cost sharing. So we are not allowed actually to leave the boundaries of Madison without a deal in place that is a cost sharing agreement. So that's right now. We'll get into this a little bit later, where we don't open the doors on Monona Drive, but we will get to that a little bit later. So a little bit about your own Monona service. I'm not that familiar with it, so bear with me if I say any errors here. Well, it is a contracted service. You have the Monona Express that runs a peak bus into downtown Madison. It's also supplemented by a midday Monona Lift route, which, from what I understand, is kind of more of a deviated fixed route that you have to dial in at first. So we do not have an integrated fare system, but I have heard that Monona Express will accept transfers from Metro, but we don't have a reciprocal agreement as of now because we don't have a contract with the City of Monona. So what I've been told is that the budget is $246,000, and that's more or less of what the city's paying for right now with Monona Express and Lyft. So it looks like some money comes from state property taxes and fares. So as I was mentioning before, since we do not have an agreement with the City of Monona, we do run closed door through Monona Drive, and if this route were to go through, we would also open up our other routes, which in some cases run more frequently, for Monona Drive and Monona residents. So right now, if you might have noticed in the news or in the newspapers, we're doing a massive redesign and changing the service. So they're actually, we're removing the transfer point system. We're going to have a lot more through running routes where you can stay in the same bus and get a little bit further. This does allow, there's this new C route, which if you go to My Metro Bus / redesign, you can find more about. The C route goes down kind of generally where the old 38 went down. It's going to go down Jennifer Street and then go to the Madison Municipal Building and eventually go to UW Hospital there on University Bay. So you could, with this route, which we'll get into later, that bus will take you all the way there, whereas Monona Express takes you to the square and then to South Madison and back around. So a little different things about what this route would be. It is an all-day route, and we are looking at some possible weekend service, depending on how you want to set, the first and last trip. That kind of sets the budget and how much service we can put into weekends. And as I mentioned, the other routes, which are in some cases running more frequently on Monona Drive, would also open their doors, and there'd be a couple new stops on Monona Drive. We're still working on that. And it would also be a free transfer if you want to connect to other Madison routes. And this would also include, so all of our fixed route service includes Paratransit. This is door-to-door service. It's a little bit different than Lyft. It's not open to the general public. There is an eligibility process that you have to go to that we can get into a little bit later. There is some information about that on the tables over there. So it's a little bit different than a general population option. So that would replace Lyft. And kind of getting a little bit more into Paratransit service. There's information about kind of the general federal law through ADA. So this was passed in 1990. That basically, within 3/4 miles of a bus stop, while that bus is running, agencies must provide complimentary ADA paratransit service. So it is kind of similar to Lyft, where you need to book a day in advance. There is an in-person assessment that you would have to do down at our Metro offices. And right now the fare is $3.25 a ride, and you can learn more about it at mymetrobus.com/paratransit. Getting a little bit more into the route, which was the next slide. Like I mentioned, it goes down through the Isthmus, serves the Madison Municipal Building, and then would eventually go down Old University to the UW hospital area. So if you need to get to the hospital or if you work at the hospital, you could take one bus without transferring here in Monona all the way down there. We're looking at different places where you could transfer if you didn't want to go to those places. That's still kind of being worked out. We're still working a little bit on bus placements. One thing I can say, this existing route, which you'll see in the next slide, it does pass through some existing Monona Express stops that we still plan to serve. There's a couple of other ones we're working on as well. Right now we're planning on an hourly route, but the start and end times, it's kind of up to folks here to see what they would like with the budget we have available. I've been told that budget's pretty firm. So this is the map here, and there'll probably be questions about this later. So you can see it is a one-way loop. So that does provide a lot more coverage, but it's a little bit harder to get back to the same point because you have to ride around. It does go down Stoughton Road, but Stoughton Road isn't a very safe place, and it's a very hard place to put bus stops. And so it would go rather quickly down to where Broadway is there in Coops, where that Menards is, and then it would continue up Femrite to get on Monona, to get on Owen, to Maywood, to Nichols, and I always say this wrong, Winnequa, back up to Dean, up to Monona, and then turning there on Buckeye to Davies. And then there it would pick up the regular route of the C. So we have different numbers, and they kind of stand for different branches. So if you imagine C being a trunk, the C3 is one of the branches. So it has a shared route on the regular parts of the C that is all shared once you get to the Dempsey area.
So we're C3 up there.
Yeah. Yes. So okay, so this is more of the route here. And it kind of fits into the larger area. There'll be opportunities to connect to routes like Route L and G. Route G will be running every 30 minutes all the time. It will never drop down to hourly. L is right now planned to be hourly. There's a couple different transfer opportunities there. And right now, there aren't any time transfers. We'd have to kind of see how the scheduling goes out. So I just want to be really careful about making promises about certain connections, because some of them just mathematically are impossible to make all of the connections that people would like. Oh, I was told we're taking questions after. Yeah, but we're here. Don't worry. Yeah. So this kind of shows where the C goes. So it does follow. So you have that 38 there, but that's going to end up being trimmed down, kind of like it is now in the middays. So that C3 will connect up there at Dempsey and turn into the C, and it'll go down through Atwood, down Jennifer Street. And then go very close to the square, just a block or two from the square at the Madison Municipal Building. And it'll take Broome and Bassett up to University and Johnson and the main East Campus Mall. And then it goes on Old U up to University Bay and the hospital. So that is kind of how it fits into the larger network. We're still kind of working on this map. This is kind of a preview here. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit on next steps, and a lot of these are, out of my hands for obvious reasons. The Monona Council has to make a decision. We would like to incorporate it into a network design plan, which we are implementing that plan in 2023. I've been told that necessarily the city might not be ready for that time. It does kind of integrate into some of our scheduling, so that would work. But I understand that there's things that the city needs to work through.
Can you go back to that map?
Sure.
To the map before that, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
So the G route is the one right now where it doesn't stop at all, so correct, and that's where now we'd have stops come down Broadway, up Monona Drive, and then the L route would still come through Monona Drive, correct? So they have three opportunities, three routes.
Yes. Yes, and that will be a little bit more frequent service, especially that G. That's always 30 minutes. And that G kind of goes to where I know that the lift goes to Walmart now. That G will be every 30 minutes all the time, and it does go by that Walmart. Is now time for questions, or?
Are you guys finished?
Yeah. That's our short presentation, but I'm sure there's details that.
Yeah, I think now we could start questions, and then after the questions are complete, we have some folks registered to speak as well. So we'll do that after the question period.
You want to do that, or just?
We'll do the questions first.
Okay.
Because he just, I think that makes more sense.
I don't know who's leading the questions.
You mentioned that the C is analogous to the current 38 route.
In many ways.
Is it stopping as frequently on the east side? Like, I think currently the 38 stops every 2 blocks on the east side. Is that the plan for the C route, or is it more of an express bus?
It goes, yeah, that's a good point. The Monona Express does have more limited stops. This would be taking the same stops that the current Route 38's taking. Right now, we're not eliminating any stops. So it's just the stops that are out there.
I don't know what 38 is.
It's just for.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's one of the routes that kind of follows the proposed C route that some folks might take. It doesn't quite go to Monona, but it's just a route for reference for some people who may use it.
So is it the G route or the L route that would go over by like Walgreens on the corner of Plum and Monona Drive?
Plum and Monona, that would. Yeah, that would be G. That's every 30 minutes all the time. Yeah.
Let's just do one person at a time. Let me hand the mic out.
No, I just wanted, and is there a bus route that would go out by like Woodman's, East Town, and the Target area that the Monona Senior Center offers?
Yeah, so the G, it depends too kind of where you live in Monona. The G.
We're Monona Meadows.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar. Yeah.
Off of Monona Drive, if I'm right.
Oh yeah. That's perfect. Yeah, the G goes straight out there by Woodman's, so kind of to where the existing East Transfer Point is.
So why are we going through Owen Road on C3 and then down to Winnicott? What is attracting you wanting to drive there when they're all houses? We've got 300 houses on that route right now, and people all have garages and have cars in there. Apartments are 2 blocks off Monona Drive. That's where most of the people are that need rides. So give me a good reason.
Oh, well, that route was proposed by the city staff, and we gave a couple of suggestions of certain turns we couldn't make. But other than that, these are our municipal partners who set where they want it to go.
Yeah, so I'm Addie Ferber. I'm one of the members of the Transit Commission. We've been talking extensively about how to answer that exact question, right? Where do people live in Monona? Where are people trying to go? So part of it right now is that the pathway through Monona is following a little bit along the path that we're currently using with the Monona Express service uptown. And what this does is it makes sure that we're able to connect within a few blocks to everybody in Monona. You know, we're not trying to say, like, if you have a car and you have a garage, you don't need a bus, because, I mean, I'm on LaBelle, just off Frost Woods. I have a car, I have a garage, and I take the bus and I ride my bike. So I think we're trying to find a way that lots of people in the community can get access to that if they choose to take the bus. Anything else from other kind of, as we've been thinking about
Well,
this?
there's also the senior housing on that street as well.
Yeah.
So my question is, so there isn't a bus route that goes straight down Monona Drive? My residents would have to figure out which bus they need to get on based on where they are on Monona Drive?
It is kind of split there, as you were saying. Yeah, there is one, kind of the north end is served by the L, and the south end served by the G. Part of that is we had to serve La Follette High School, so that's one of the reasons.
I just understand why you're just gonna go straight down.
Yeah, we have to serve La Follette High School. It's a big ridership generator and an equity concern for us.
And for the rest of the question session, my name's Patrick. I'm one of the elders, and I just wanted to make sure that we're raising our hands and to try and keep it organized as possible. So next, yes.
So I'm not riding the bus yet.
What? 1 second.
You do mean one of these?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yes, and do you have any numbers, like how many people, because we know what the statistics are for how many people ride the express?
Mm-hmm.
Which, well, I don't know that we have them with us. Do you have numbers of how many people will actually ride the bus?
Do we?
Patrick, can you repeat the questions as they come in?
Yeah, I can. So the question is, how many people? Do we know how many people will ride the Madison Metro bus? I mean, that's.
I wish if you know, let me know, because that would be useful.
Well,
I mean,
Patrick, we do have data from Metro about the 38 and the 16 routes
Yes.
that go through Monona right now and don't pick up people.
so perhaps.
And so, sorry.
Yeah. So perhaps Metro has some insight on that.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. Since the doors aren't open, we kind of don't have a baseline to see how many people would ride when the doors were open on Monona Drive, that is. I would hope to pick up what you have on Monona Express, and since it's running more often, you could take average trips, which I don't have that data in front of me, but you could take the average rides per trip on Monona Express and just multiply that by more trips. And then also people can start to rely on things. Monona Express doesn't have any midday service. Some people come do half days. And there's different reasons why people might not want to, their demand doesn't fit exactly into the peak. So something running on weekends too, especially if you don't have a car, that kind of helps you get out of to where you need to go all the time. So it's a little bit different kind of service that I would assume would be greater than the sum of its parts.
So, yeah, Express and Lyft had ridership about 25,000 a year rides. But again, Express is running just a couple routes in the morning and evening. Yeah. And those are really outbound or inbound routes, so it's not like it's running the same route in the evening. And then there was no weekend service either, so I would imagine it would be giving more access. It would be greater than that.
I would really like to know, I have some numbers. Have you asked people in Monona how many of you are going to take the bus and where are you going to go?
No, we did
before,
that.
For people who live on the route, this bus will go by their house 16 times per day. That's a lot.
Next, and I think you had a question, and you tried to ask a question multiple times. So go ahead.
You mean me?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm not riding the bus yet, but at some point in the future, I would like to ride on this lovely busing system because I've heard that it's
done very well, and the drivers are very professional and helpful. So, do I understand this correctly, that if I, for instance, lived at one of the places on Owen Road that is available for senior housing, I would get on at Owen Road, sorry,
Whichever one.
and drive, and I would ride around, but if I wanted to go to the grocery store at the shopping center where usually credit union and all of that is, I would have to ride all the way around, which isn't too bad, down South Stoughton Road, and does it stop at the grocery store?
Metro.
We don't have any, unfortunately, Stoughton Road's not a place where we can stop right now.
No, it's not on Stoughton. No, it's on Broadway. Yep.
Over there.
So
take-
yeah, no,
Be the,
You take the G.
the G.
Easy
Yeah.
to go down Broadway and then come back up Monona Drive, because that is where the bank is, that is where the grocery store is. What else is over there? A couple of restaurants.
Yeah, that would be the G route.
yeah, the G's going to help you a lot there, but yeah, with
But then you have to transfer, is that right?
depends on where you're going.
I live
Yeah,
supposedly on Owen Road.
yeah.
So I
So.
would have to go around on the G, on the C3. Just walk up.
Or it depends. I don't want to propose. I don't know how far you can walk. So there's certain. There's easier. Yeah.
I'm speaking of somebody that I know that brought this up.
Yeah.
I have a high walker that I use with my hands way up here, and I have a false sleigh.
So I mean, depending on what you could do, there's going to be easier trips if you can walk a little bit further. There are some very long trips that you could take. But one of the issues about having this more coverage, that we call this more of a coverage model more than frequency. So this bus route is, since it's with the one-way loop, it's harder to have kind of inter town trips with the one-way loop. But it's a way to kind of push out to have more stops for people to be able to take it. But it's just one of the it's one of the things you have to think about when you're setting service. But like I said, the route
And then
from
paratransit likely exists
Yeah.
for that scenario as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think that those would be qualifying factors.
Yes. I don't. I there are certain eligibility things that, like I said, aren't there for Lyft. So that's kind of important. I'm not. I don't want to say that everyone here qualifies because there's just a kind of a process.
I don't know what my question is. What I'm trying to get at, I'm gonna change where I live. I'm gonna live at the end of Nichols Road at Grand Park, which is really where I live. Very close to where I used to live. Let's say I'm there now. I can go, right now I can't go to the grocery store. I can go a little bit along Monona Drive, just some of the stores, but not the ones beyond Flan, which is where the restaurants are. But in order to get onto a bus that would help me to get, for instance, I'm gonna have to transfer. Is that right?
Yes, and without a pretty lengthy walk. Yeah. Yeah. It's just
That's what I think is gonna end up being hard for some people.
with this amount of resources, it's kind of difficult to have two-way service a lot of places.
Next. Yeah.
I really love this map. I'm just having a hard time keeping up sometimes as people are explaining where they might travel, and I'm just wishing that there might be like a laser pointer or someone tracing the routes. I don't know if we have. Or maybe you have a mouse at the podium that you can just move. I'll see if they have one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like that, like just that would be great. Just
All right. There's some creaking.
Look at that magic. Okay.
There we go.
All right.
Nice
Next.
technology here. Yeah.
In the back in the green.
She's one of the drivers.
This all explanation and conversation right now is for people who can walk very well and who are very capable to take care of themselves. I would like to know if we're gonna talk about people who barely moves, who needs my hand to get into the bus and get out of the bus, and for who the little bus on the driveway is the way to get out of the house at all.
Well, for that, I would talk about the paratransit that I was listing before, and we do have lifts on all of our buses, and we do have wheelchair tie downs, so that would help for some people who can take the fixed route. But once again, this is a route that's proposed by the city, but I wouldn't say it's going to provide all of the transportation needs for everyone.
Can you describe paratransit real quick?
Yeah. Do you want to do this? Yeah.
Paratransit is basically, it's a little like Lyft. You have to well, actually what's different is you have to apply for the service. You have to fill out an application at Metro, and then you have to come to our office and get an in-person assessment. To make sure that you're eligible. And to do that, you'll meet with one of our people. We will pick you up in one of our paratransit vehicles. We'll take you to Metro. We'll do the in-person assessment. We'll give you a ride home. So that we'll make sure you get there for the assessment. Then once you are deemed eligible, then you basically book a ride at 4:30 the day before that you want to ride. And we'll pick you up at your house. And we'll take you to whatever destination. It's door-to-door service. We'll pick you up at your house and take you right to the destination. And then you have to book a ride back. You do that the day before as well. If you have any questions or concerns, we have call center reps that are available 6 to 6 during the day. They can answer your questions. If you're done early at your appointment, you can call them, and then we'll see if we can get you an earlier ride home. So we're there as a resource on the phone. It costs $3.25 for a ride. And that's pretty much it. The flyers that are on the back of the room and our website will give all the details, but that's pretty much, in a nutshell, what paratransit is.
She also asked if the drivers help them from their home.
Oh, yes. The drivers, they do. I don't remember offhand if we do offer, they do offer door-to-door service. I'll have to look that up in the sheet, and I'll get back to you before the end of the night.
And we have some other questions in the back.
Hi.
Yeah.
So what I'm wondering is, as I look at this route, are these routes in stone? And if so, how will these match up with the new rollout in 2023? And finally, was there a survey, or is there going to be a survey of the Monona residents in regards to what they're looking for? Although I don't use the lift, I do walk to catch a Madison Metro bus.
I can answer some of that. So this would fit into the new 2023 redesign. Since we have this new Route C, this would be integrated as a branch. So the city's kind of getting a good deal here because they would only be paying for the section that's not in the main trunk. It was only this loop here and within the city of Monona. So it is integrated where you wouldn't have to transfer. Like some people might know with the 31 right now, it takes you to the West Transfer Point. You have to transfer if you want to go downtown. This would be a one-seat ride to the hospital and downtown. So it would be integrated. As far as the pulling residents here and set in stone, this is totally up to the city. They're a municipal customer of ours. So that's totally up to the city. We'll, as transit planners and operations folks, we will help on certain turns, and we could provide some other assistance on the safety of the route. But other than that, that is something that the city decides.
And I'd like to add that this is the beginning of this process. So the whole reason and purpose of this informational session is so you get to know about what is being discussed, and you are part of this discussion. So, and this is one of, well, there'll be at least 2 more of these sessions. Yep, and that there was a survey done in 2020. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was 2020.
Yeah, it was 2020. It was during the first pandemic lockdown.
On the routes and the idea of.
Mark, do you have any info on that survey from 2020?
Was it 2020?
It was 2020 or 2021. We
Yeah.
did a survey on the transit commission.
Yeah, we did a survey and we had a lot of feedback. Was for a minute.
You had a lot, I took paper surveys to many of the assisted living facilities, dropped those off, so we had engagement with them.
But did the community at large have a chance?
Yeah, it was a very wide survey.
How was the survey done? Again, this is supposed to be an information session. And Mark, how was the survey done? I mean, I don't want to get.
We blasted it out through our one was through. It was a Survey Monkey.
Okay, so it was online.
It was online.
Gotcha.
We blasted it out.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Well, no. Again, no one's dictating Madison Metro coming here. This is an informational session, and you guys are part of this process. So I'd like to keep the conversation going because no decision is made. It's not like It's not like the city council or even the commission has made a decision that this is what we're doing. So, yes. Mhm. Sure.
So we did the survey, but then we had Madison Metro actually contacted the city of Monona, and they were redoing their whole route system. And Madison Metro contacted us. We did the survey. Even the survey came back. There was a lot of people said, "Why not Madison Metro? Like to go different places." But in coincidence, Madison Metro contacted us. They were redoing all their route system and asked if we'd be interested in taking a look at joining them. So we did. We did our due diligence, working with Madison Metro, and got some feedback for them. Kind of decided what the route would be if we did this, and so we're kind of bringing that to the city and see where everybody else is. So they basically contacted us, and we're kind of following through on that contact.
Okay, I'd like to continue the questions.
Is the meeting on Tuesday going to be the same meeting just for other people to attend? Or will
Yep.
it be different?
It's the same information. Yep. It just gives more people the opportunity to participate.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, I live at Frostwoods, and I'm just wondering, is this going to go down by Frostwoods?
No.
No, but there will be a stop on Monona Drive in Frostwoods.
Okay, because you've got 2 senior houses that have elderly people with walkers and things that have a hard enough time getting to the lift, much less walking down a steep hill and getting to Monona Drive. I have a hard time walking and getting that far. So I have slight mobility problems, but I'm talking about numerous people with walkers, canes, wheelchairs. So also, and I've ridden the Metro bus, and thank God Madison has it. I'm so thankful for that. But you got to remember, these people, I've ridden one and I've missed the bus. They don't wait on you downtown. So are these people going to wait on a senior that doesn't get out there in time and they miss the bus because they're not out there in time? I don't know. I can't say enough for our little Monona Lift buses. The people we have here are amazing. Ivana is fantastic. Abdella is fantastic. Bill was fantastic. We have other drivers that are amazing. They need to really think about this because you're going to have a lot of seniors that are upset. Me, one of them, because I have epilepsy. I'm not considered disabled. They said there's no reason why I can't work, but I never know when a seizure is going to come on, so therefore I don't for that reason. And I don't think I'd qualify for the paratransit. So therefore, I would have to ride the other bus and have to get out in the middle of winter when there's snow ankle deep and walk through snow and dredge through it. I don't think you're really thinking about our seniors, which is really where you should be thinking about. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
I just have a question on the pricing for the paratransit. So you said it's $325. Is that per direction, or is it for round trip?
The question is the pricing for paratransit $325 for one way or for round trip?
It is for one way.
One way.
Yeah, and to answer the question from previously, yes, the driver will assist you getting on the bus and getting off the bus, and then if you ask for what we call door-to-door service, then we will go to your front door and help you from your front door to the vehicle.
And that's for paratransit, yes.
Correct. Yep.
So to follow up on that, I would have to just, maybe you don't know on the council, but that would double the price for the seniors, because currently they pay $3 round trip. So that'd be $625 for affordable housing, that's fixed income.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Oh.
Yeah, do you have a sense of what total trip time would be from Monona to, say, downtown? Like how it compares to the Express?
That's a good question. I unfortunately don't have it right in front of me. It would be a little bit slower, I would say, because there's more stops. It's really hard to know without seeing what the ridership's going to be when the bus. If the bus doesn't have as much ridership, it's not stopping. It's a little faster. I'd say it's a slightly slower than the Monona Express, to be honest.
Hi, thank you for being here. I have two questions. The survey was brought up a bit ago, and I'm just curious, can people themselves or with the help of a friend, can they go to the City of Monona website and find any information, historical information about the survey? Because I do know that a lot of time has been put into trying to query the residents about their preferences, whether you maybe didn't know about it, but I know that effort was made, and I'm just wondering if there's a way that people can.
It's currently not on there, the results, but we can put it on there.
Okay. All right.
It's currently not on there, but we can put it on there.
Sure, that'd be easy enough. My second question is about the Paratransit, which I know is something very important to many people in the room. Can you explain what qualifies a person for Paratransit, or perhaps how many people are turned away, how many people apply, what's the general success rate of eligibility and things like that?
I can't go through all the details of what the eligibility is based on, but it's in here. But I can say, in general, it's if you have a condition or ability that makes it where you can't ride our fixed route buses. So there are a lot of different, there could be an invisible disability, there could be just, mobility issues, there's just a lot of different things. As far as how many people we turn away, I'm not aware of us turning away a lot of people. So if you have a condition, if you're there's some documentation you have to fill out from your physician, you turn that into us, and then you come to our staff and tell them what your issue is and what you can't, why you can't use our fixed route buses. It's a very easy process. We make it as easy as we possible for everyone.
So a person with epilepsy who's not outwardly incapable in any way physically would
correct.
Still
That'd be like one of the invisible disabilities I've talked about, and they we don't turn away a lot of people, so that kind of thing. I don't make the determinations, but that sounds like something that you definitely would be eligible for.
And I would like to just, in the interest of, in the public's interest, if we have employees of First Student here and they're speaking, they should identify themselves as employees of First Student. Yes. Gotcha.
Hi, I'm Matt Arrow. I was on the transit committee for a number of years, and I'm very familiar with it, with my mom having used the lift when she lived at Monona Meadows. I just have one suggestion for a route change. If you were to take that C3 route and instead of going from Menards through Fenwright Drive, go down Broadway, go to the grocery store that's closest to the homes in Monona and the people and the residents that are here. You could either go back up Monona Drive to Monona Meadows, or even, is it Roselawn? Is that the name of the street? Next to it, and it really wouldn't cut any time off that, but it would probably make a big difference in people being able to get to the grocery store and other amenities that are down there at Broadway, Monona Drive, and not have to take a transfer, which is, I mean, some may still have to, but that might make it easier for those residents in particular who probably are going to use this a lot more than other residents. Thank you.
And right behind again.
I live on the bike route, and I'm just concerned about, we have so much more use of bicycles and people commuting on bicycles, combined with cars parked on the street with bikes, traffic, pedestrians. I'm just concerned about the increase in traffic and decrease in the quality of life of people who live on the route and commute by bike or use, pedestrian.
Absolutely, that's a valid concern. I don't know how to answer that question. I think we should go to the public comments at this point, because it sounds like some of these questions are more public comment than questions. So I think we'll go to the public comments at this point, and we'll go through the list, and everyone who is registered to speak has 3 minutes. And we'll start with Charles Buggs.
Good evening. Thank you, everybody. So my name is Charles Buggs. I just moved to Monona in September, so I'm new here. 3 out of the 4 family members of my family are blind or visually impaired. We are ecstatic. I can put a plug for having a stop at St. Teresa and Monona Drive. We'll have a little party if you do that. Anyway, I am a proponent of Metro coming to serve Monona. When I used to live in the city of Madison years ago, out on the east side in the Glendale neighborhood, I used to say Monona was like the transit black hole. If you didn't live there, you couldn't get there, and if you somehow got there, you couldn't get out if you didn't drive. So I would really, we're looking forward to possibly, hopefully, if this occurs for Metro to serve Monona. I'm excited to see the loop being part of the C route. I was concerned that it was just going to be its own independent loop and stop, and you'd have to transfer. But if it's part of the C, that's even better. It will benefit, the business owners in Monona because, people from all over Madison and employees, different things will be able to get to Monona. And, as a new resident and homeowner in Monona, it will greatly benefit us. So I just wanted to speak in favor. And for the folks who, for the grocery trips, I believe in addition to the paratransit service, there is another program for senior citizens to go to the grocery store. It's run by a different, I forgot who, so that might be also something to look into. They might not have quite as strict requirements of the paratransit. Paratransit really is for people who physically cannot take the bus. Even if you're just partially blind like myself, they'll tell you you can take the bus, you don't qualify, but if you have additional disabilities, then that might be something that would qualify you. I also just wanted to talk briefly about the experience of being a new homeowner coming to Monona. The information about the current transportation options on the website are quite limited. The website has accessibility issues for people such as myself who make it difficult to obtain information. Also, the app has accessibility issues. However, I will say on the positive side, the staff, I think it's at First Student, are very nice, very wonderful to talk to on the phone, and they also sent me a copy of the route, because right now there isn't even a place you can go to get like a route map for the current Monona service. They direct you to the app, and in one case, my phone said the app was not available in my country, and I'm like, okay, great. So there's issues there that I hope if we continue with the current service, for some reason, I hope that they would be resolved. I don't want to take up any more time than I need to. That's basically what I had to say.
Thank you very much. And I think we'll put some information out there too, because through the county there's the Older Adult Transportation Assistance Program that provides scheduled individualized rides for appointments and services, which enhances the rider's ability to remain independent and in their own home. This is in addition to what's provided by Paratransit. That's what he was speaking about. And the payment is based upon the ability to pay, and it's for people age 60 or older. And that's door-to-door service as well. But next on the list, Sandra.
Thank you. I would just like to say that I am for the Madison Metro collaboration. I've lived in the area now for 21 years, and when I moved here from the southeast part of Wisconsin, one of the first things that I looked for was the availability of a bus to get me to the UW-Madison campus. So over these past 21 years, I have not moved throughout the city, but I have gone from one point to another point simply so I could reduce my carbon footprint and I could take the public transportation because it is reliable and reproducible. There's nothing better for me than to get on the bus, read my paper, get off the bus, go to work, get on the bus, come home, and read my paper. I don't have to worry about traffic. I don't have to worry about the weather. I'm for it, but I do see there are issues here that we need to resolve, and we need to take everybody's input seriously because it's a very important decision, I feel. Thanks.
Getting my tonight. James, I believe it's Hetty.
It's James Hetty. I live at Monona Gardens. I moved there a year ago. I've been living on the north side of Madison since 60 years before that. I really am for this because My biggest problem is if I want to go somewhere in the city of Madison where the Monona Transit doesn't go, I can't get there. I have to use some other method of transportation to get there. So if I want to go to a place on East Wash or even in Middleton, but I know Middleton's got their own transportation. Well, not really, it's Metro, but it's the Middleton bus. But I had to go there, and there are other points in this city that I can't get to because there's no, you can't transfer. So I just, try to find another way to get there, or call my brother to come and get me to take me there or something. And so I really am for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. And next is Dean Connor.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank the council members and all those who are involved in making Monona Transit the wonderful service that it is. I lived in Monona for 8 years, all of that at the Monona Lakeview Apartments. This service is an amazing help for me. I don't believe it's an exaggeration for me to say that for me, I'm deaf, I'm going blind, I'm not particularly bright. I have chronic heart failure, and my walking ability is limited, especially it would be in the wintertime trying to walk to a bus stop. It's not an exaggeration for me to say that Monona Transit is the difference between living and existing for me. I have many health issues. I have several clinics that I have to go to frequently. The only thing that is more direct than Monona Transit would be Union Cab. And for me to go from where I live round trip to St. Mary's Hospital outpatient clinic is $50. If I had to use the taxi service to get to various appointments early, late, middle of the day, whatever, I would spend $200 to $300 or more a month on taxi fare. So this door-to-door service is admittedly a beautiful, wonderful, convenient thing. For me, it's an essential, not just a convenience. I want to be sympathetic to all ages of people who use Monona Transit, but I think especially it's a star in Monona's crown to have this type of service that I don't know where else you could get it. The beautiful face of Monona Transit is Abdullah and Ivanka. Those are the only two drivers I know who treat us people like family. They're patient, they're kind, they help us to the door. I'm able to get to the grocery store. I'm able to get to my clinic appointments on time. It seems that we're trying to fix something that it appears to be broken. If Monona Transit, if this wonderful service is broken, I would like to know what the nature of the break is. And as an old gentleman years ago said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's a matter of money, I think almost all of us who ride the bus would be willing to pay more. If it's something other than that, I'd be interested to know what it is. But I'm very thankful for making my life possible. It gets me out of the house. It gets me to Walmart. It gets me to the drugstore. It gets me to East Clinic, the Dean Outpatient Clinic at St. Mary's, the Fish Hatchery Clinic, and they never fail. They're on time. They're pleasant. And I want to thank you very much for giving me that service.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And Diane Hughes.
Okay, well, I wanted to say, for what I know about this sounds really interesting. A few years ago, when my car broke down, I live at Monona Meadows, and I tried to live without a car for ethical reasons as well as financial, and I soon figured out there was no way that I could manage the transition into the Madison places I needed to go. This seems like it would offer an improvement to that. I would be sorry to lose anybody that is wonderful to the people. That is important, and I just want to say, yes, let's at least seriously consider this.
Thank you. And Richard Fritz.
Thanks. I guess this is sort of an eye-opener for me because we have a couple of these buses in Monona picking up elderly, taking them places, and I just thought that we were covered in Monona. And then to see the city bus of Madison going right through the middle of Monona, and not so sure if we need that when we've gotten by with this other, and everybody's been saying how good they've been taking care of people that have a handicap problem. Why we can't run a bus right straight down Monona, get some land on the way, just like we condemn other places and take land. And anyway, it's just my opinion.
Thank you. I think it's Pat or Pete McKeever? Pete, sorry.
I'm Peter McKeever. I serve on the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission, and I thought I would bring a little regional perspective to this. 2 or 3 years ago, the Greater Madison area was surveyed in something called the Greater Madison Vision, and it laid a groundwork for updating the regional development framework. One of the purposes of that was to identify widely supported priorities for regional development. This is the whole Madison area, and Monona is a part of that region. Many of the people who would use the system work in Madison or work in Middleton or other places. What's now called the Regional Development Framework has 3 goals. The first one is reduce greenhouse gas emissions and foster community resilience to climate change. And the second one is to increase access to jobs, housing, and services for all people. The third one conserves farmland, water resources, natural areas, and fiscal resources. Extending Madison Metro to Monona clearly fits within the first 2 of those goals. We are part of a region. Ideally, there were years ago, the legislature authorized a regional transit commission, and that was vetoed by a guy named Scott Walker. It died at that point. The idea was that we would share the cost of regional transportation through everybody in the Madison region, including Stoughton, Oregon, places that aren't served at all now, but that cost would be shared by the whole community. I think bringing Madison Metro to Monona, I've lived here for 34 years, I think, something like that, 1989, would be great. I think it's a wonderful idea. By the very nature of a car, it's so convenient. We've all gotten in the habit of that convenience, and we love it. But that's causing, as we all know, all kinds of climate problems, economic problems. The Beltline is now an 8-lane highway. Can you imagine an 8-lane highway in Madison, Wisconsin? It floors you when you walk over one of those bridges or drive over one of the bridges and see that kind of traffic. The bus can help solve those kinds of problems. It won't solve everything. It'll add to that. By the very nature of bus service, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to go down every street. It's not going to be within walking distance of every person. I think the Paratransit and the other alternatives need to be reviewed. Clearly, there are a lot of folks who can't use the transit, and that clearly needs to be taken into consideration. Can't use Metro. But on the whole, I think the real question here is whether or not Monona gets into a collaboration with Metro, and I think you absolutely should. I think it's a no-brainer. I was on the city council some 15 years ago, and we were trying to do this same thing, and I can tell you now that the cost that Madison Metro is proposing is a fraction of what Madison Metro was charging 15 years ago. It's a fraction of what they were charging 15 years ago. What's the other thing, any other thing that you can think of where the cost has gone down in the last 15 years? This is the time to bring Monona out of the black hole and become part of the regional transit network. So thank you very much. I hope the commission and this council will quickly get this in place.
Thank you, Peter. Tamor?
Thank you. Some of these have already been kind of covered already, some of my questions, but will there be another survey or study? I think now that we're actually here at this point, it might be important to revisit. So is that something that would be considered?
Something we'll talk about as commission where we're going to next plans. We don't.
Are the current route that's proposed negotiable? Are there alternatives that have been considered or offered? Or are you guys open to alternatives?
Sure. Yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we're listening.
Okay.
But let me just add to that. Sorry, I'm Nancy Moore. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm the chair of the Transit Commission, but I double booked in city meetings tonight. I'm also chair of the ZBA, the Zoning Board of Appeals, so I had to meet there first. I apologize. I would we will definitely take a look at the routes, or we're happy to revisit the routes. What I will also say, though, is that we've spent a ton of time with city staff as well as with Madison Metro and with the commission already jiggering this route a lot. So I don't want you to think that we just went up there with a pencil and did it once and said, okay, let's put it in front of the...
that didn't happen, but I also, you guys all discussed it, but we didn't have any input, so I guess this is where our part is.
That's why your input is, I just
Right.
wanted you to know that there, again, I'm more than happy to take your input. I just wanted you to know that we didn't take it lightly, even to date. We've spent a lot of time on it.
Is there consideration of alteration of service, the time that... So like right now, it seems that most of the pickups are like between 6:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. and then again during basically the rush hours. Is there I guess consideration of doing something as far as just doing it on the rush hour and then midday and then weekends? I just don't see the need for service. I mean, all day service. A lot of people are out, and there's also a lot of people working from home now. So I don't know if, 15-hour, 7-day-a-week service is, this is a small community, and while I certainly think that there's benefit to some transit, I don't know if we need 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even something I grew up in a commuter rail town, and people walk a mile and a half to and from home. Our kids walk to school every day. And so, having a main route just down Monona Drive that people could walk to and connect to, and then you could, have the whole drive where people could pick up and probably more opportunities for transfer. I just, we moved here to be in a residential community. We didn't want a Metro bus come in circling our neighborhood every hour for 15 hours a day. So if you guys are considering alternatives, then I think that's great, but I just don't want this to be pushed through without maybe slowing the process down a little bit.
Thank you. And Ivana?
I am a Madison Monona Lift and Monona Express bus driver. I'm new 4 months. I'm here not to save my job or not to save the company. There's tons of jobs, available everywhere. But for this 4 months, I am doing mostly Monona Lift. and I am already that close with my passengers that I am right now on my unpaid time, and I took the bus to take some people who wanted to go for this meeting. What I would like to mention, to consider service for elderly people, because this service that we currently offering, me and Abdallah for the lift, helping seniors that really have a hard time to get out of the house without any help. And this bus is the bride for them. They are waiting for it to go for their appointments or simple grocery. Some people need a lot of help to get in, out. We developed this interpersonal relations that people are happy with. They are waiting for their bus driver. They know what's going on. They know that they can count on us. We can take not 2 bags, but 20 sometimes. It's okay, no problem. In Ukraine, we carried a lot of bags. We don't have all cars, and bus system is very developed there. So I only want to, as a resident also, I'm concerned about big Madison bus. I live on Owen Road for 11 years. I love every square meter of Monona. It's a great place, lots of parks, recreation for kids, adults. Oh my God, couldn't ask for anything better. I don't want to see a big bus circling on Owen Road also. Going back and forth, it's going to be a very busy street. And also I don't want to bring any strangers to our beautiful community from down everywhere around. Safe? Yes, we are very safe and very clean, and I would like to keep it like that. Yes.
Sharon Patton.
Hi. I just want to say I'm really advocating for our seniors. I live in a senior housing, Frostwoods. We have 2 houses there that house seniors that, like he said, a lot of times they're waiting on that bus to come and pick them up, and that's their only outing for the day. They don't have any other outings. Some of them don't even have family members that come and see them. So, you know, that bus, seeing Ivana's face or Abdella's face, you can just see the smile and the twinkle in their eyes when they see them. It just makes me so happy. And if we lost this, not only would I be losing it, but there's a whole bunch of seniors in here that you have that would be losing it, and a bunch of people where I live. Some of them are in wheelchairs. They're super great at getting them, putting them in there, latched them down. So I'm not against it, but just like, I don't know what the solution is, but, you know, walking out the Frostwoods where we're at, there's going to be a lot of people that's not going to be able to do that. And like I said, I'm not real sure that Paratransit would even consider me with me having epileptic seizures and being able to work, because that's what I get because I can't have disabilities. They said there's no reason why you can't work, even though I'm not in control of my seizures. So it's very heartbreaking to me, and that means I'd have to depend more on my sisters, and I don't want to do that. I want to live independently. I want to help myself as much as I can. So please don't take that away from us. I beg you.
Thank you. Christine Wang.
Okay, I work at Monona Meadows, which is a low-income senior housing, and a lot of my residents are concerned about the taking away of the lift. They are able to use that when it's so difficult to think about using a transit system where they may or may not have to transfer, where they may have to go up higher stairs. When they use the lift, they go as a group together so they can help each other at the store or wherever that they are going. The drivers are amazing with them. They will help them in and out of the lobby area with their bags and things like that. And I just think that a lot of my residents are very uncomfortable thinking about having to try and figure out a bus system, especially at their age and with their disabilities. And I think we really need to think at, I'm hearing what a great cost it is, but at what cost to our seniors that are unable to use the transit system and who count on the lift for taking them everywhere that they need to go. So I just think that we really need to take a hard look at at what cost will we be putting our seniors and not being give them the things that they need to use to live independently.
Thank you. I think that wraps up any of the registrants.
Oh, do you want us to speak? You can speak if you want.
I'm Addie Ferber. I live on LaBelle Lane, and I guess as both a member of the Transit Commission, I've been able to think about this, but also as a citizen, it seems that for me, there's certainly there's a big overlap in seniors right now using the lift that are going to be able to access Madison Paratransit and in fact may get a better experience. And I just want to kind of put this idea out there because Madison Paratransit does the door-to-door service, according to what they're saying, that they can take seniors anywhere in the Madison routes area, so all the way to Middleton, all the way down to Fitchburg, right, that it's a bigger area that you'll be able to access. And then on the other side of the spectrum is that we're going to be getting a lot more bus service for citizens in Monona who can use the regular bus service. And so what I'm seeing is that there's a group of citizens, and I'm trying to I'm hearing so much from you guys that there's a group that think they fall in the middle, that they won't be able to get onto paratransit and they won't be able to take the bus, right? And I think a lot of the fear and the concern here is, you know, who is gonna fall in that middle? Who might not be able to take the regular bus system but might not qualify for paratransit? And I think that to me is the crux of the matter, right? Because if you can get access to paratransit, it's better service going more places more frequently. If you can take the bus service, the bus will be running all the time and you can get to where you need to go. So I really am just like, for me, trying to figure out, and I'd love to know from, you know, Madison, can we sit down and try and figure out who is in this gap between the two services? Who would actually lose it? Because I think, you know, for a lot of people here, if you could hear that, yeah, you'll qualify for paratransit, right? If they could get reassured that, you know, this would be slightly less fearful. It could be different drivers, it could be different buses, but it sounds like a lot of the same service there is there and can get you to more places. So, I mean, that's the thing that I on the commission really have been struggling with as we think about going forward in this change. Because for me, at the top line I hear, you know, we can bring a lot of access to Monona and close this black hole for what we're paying right now. You know, the taxes aren't going to go up, but we're getting a lot more bus service in our community, and that to me is great. But I want to know, you know, who's going to fall in this gap? How many people? And what can we do as a community to help you? Because I agree, absolutely everyone should be able to get around. And so for me, the question is, how can we do this? How can we do this together? Can we get lots more service for everybody in Monona that's better for everybody? So that was my 2 cents. I guess I don't know what to do from now because there was a reaction.
Yeah,
from that.
well, no. Can I just, as a follow-up to that, let me just say too, is well, and I have a big mouth, so I probably don't even need the mic. But
the people online are also listening. So
oh, okay. So yeah, let me just say too, as a follow-up to that, we recognize there is a gap there. As she was just explaining, that there are people that are going to qualify, and there are a lot of people that are going to be better served, but that there's still a gap. There's people and as you just pointed out, we not only are trying to figure out what that gap is, but how we could serve that gap. I mean, we're not just going to say, oh, too bad, however many people it is. I mean, we've already made a commitment as a city. We've already talked as a commission about, okay, if there is a gap, if there's this many people, that can't be served by paratransit or can't be served by Metro, what other options might there be to make sure that those people don't just slip through the cracks and get forgotten? Because we're not going to forget you. I want you to know that the city of Monona is not going to forget you. We are going to figure out a way to fill that gap. It might not be the lift, it might be something else, but we will find a way. We've already started, investigating other services. I've talked a lot about a service that my mom had, when she was a senior, where all the senior citizen homes in the area got together and bought their own bus and had their own thing that went on. So there are other ways to address it, and we're not just going to ignore it.
We have one more registrant real quick, because we somehow missed one of them.
Hey, sorry for breaking the whole tenor of everything's going on. That's okay. Awkward moments define my life. It's fine. My name is Robert Madison. I live on McKenna Road, and I'm a daily rider of the Monona Express. I love it, honestly. I work on the square, and there's only a few places that I go. I have a car. I drive. It's fine. But like what a lot of people here said, I like to reduce my carbon footprint when I can. So I'm either going to work on the square or to the VA hospital. It's the only place where I get my medical care, and if you've ever been down there, it's just a nightmare with the parking and the traffic and everything. So the Monona Express picks me up right at the corner, takes me to the square, and if I want to keep on going down to the VA hospital, I can do that as well. They don't run very frequently, but here's the thing. They're talking about these proposed routes, but it will involve a transfer, which in the winter will be horrible. I don't want to do that. And also, it seems from what I can tell now, it wouldn't really expand the hours that much, because everything is really up in the air. So I don't really see the benefit of it for me right now. The only thing I can really see it for me that I would use it moving forward is if I was going up to my VFW post that's on Cottage Grove Road. That's about it. If I gotta go and switch buses to get to work every day, that turns my commute from being about 15 to 20 minutes to about 45 minutes. I'm not doing that. And as everybody pointed out, the people who work at First Transit, they're lovely. They're wonderful. I get greeted on a first name basis every morning. It's awesome. I grew up in Chicago. They don't do that. All right? So basically, just to sum it up, I'm pretty happy with the status quo. Right now, I've not gotten enough details, nor have I think the commission has gotten enough details to really make an informed decision, because the routes aren't fixed yet. The times aren't fixed yet. I work at a large corporation, and if I brought this to my boss, I get yelled at. I might get fired. So I think we do, as everybody said, maybe put out another survey, slow down. Let's really hammer out the fine details and bring it back to us. I think that's the smart thing to do right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And at this point, this concludes the meeting?
Yes.
Yes. So thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you for everyone's input. We will have more of these.
Yep. That there's one on Tuesday.
And we have one on Tuesday of next week as well. So feel free to come and attend that as well.